Teacher of gods and human beings, to you the completely and fully awakened one, may indulgence
No
and
more
destroy
than
the
the
glorious
easy
one,
one,
that yet when, by
no
posterity
other
and
than the
providence
money
and
was
right
it
of
was it
refuge,
in the major
continue now and ever be endowed with sustaining destroyer, the
no
one who
other
is beyond the
than
third
the
destroyer, the completely
children,
perfected, fully awakened being, perfect in knowledge and in grace
no,
and
Jim,
love,
the easy
divine
one,
and holy,
Rajama, and the water was in
supreme God of human beings to be named, teacher of gods and human beings, to you the completely and fully awakened one, be endowed continued destroyer, the glorious one, the center of the enchanted throne, my prostrate, my conquering king of the universe, you placed out seven stars that display high and supreme in this world. To you, the wise and righteous one, pure body, forms, truly pure, wisdom unsurpassed, friend of ways between three worlds, giver of the best, Lord, to you I prostrate. Receive in child's grace thy spotless name. Father like God, to you I prostrate. Prostrate like you, three worlds unknown. Incomparably wise one, to you I
no,
prostrate.
no, no, lion, the
Prostrate without
lava,
comparison.
singing,
Without every order of spectrum, the guild of merit who qualities like mine continue now and above the cosmos I prostrate. The purity that frees one from oppression, the virtue that frees one from ill-will, the love that satisfies I prostrate. Transform and create, physician of heart and liberation, the body field full of life and realization, purify the kingdom of all creatures. To you the sublime community in unification I prostrate. Homage to the Supreme Buddha, homage to the Dharma radiant, homage to the great Sangha, to all three giving devout homage, to all worthy of respect, bowing with bodies as many as all realms, atoms, and all aspects. With supreme faith I pay homage. Do not commit any non-virtuous actions. Perform only perfect virtuous actions. Subdue your mind thoroughly. This is the teaching of the Buddha. A star, a visual aberration, a flame of a lamp, an illusion, a drop of dew or a bubble, a dream, a flash of lightning, a cloud. See efficient things as such. Breathing spirits may sentient beings attain the rank of all seeing, subdue the foe of faults, and be delivered from samsara's ocean, perturbed by the waves of aging, sickness, and death. Page 15, the Heart of the Perfection of Wisdom Sutra. I prostrate to the archangel of gems, to those that I may have contact, without flawless harmony and unspotted perfection, by the true light, together with a great community of monks and devotees to whom I prostrate. Together now and forever, to all the concentration of my thoughts and energy poured without cessation. Also that they abide in the center of my heart, I may ever keep strong, that the continually practice of the cloud speech and wisdom, and without those five batteries, souls may never attain perfection. Names of divine Buddha, given Krishna and Buddhism, sickness, evil, suffering, unacceptable, restraint, you wish to practice patience, without patience, wisdom, discernment, devotion, sattva, arya, Avalokiteshvara, Charity, son of the lineage or daughter of the lineage, Krishna is the epitome of the profound perfection of wisdom. Srila Prabhupada, dedicated to the embodiment as my advocates also sent beyond nature. Form is simply continuous in form. Emptiness is no longer in form. Form is also no longer emptiness. Same way, feeling is termination of opposition of actors of consciousness. Without characteristic, therefore any Sadhana Jara Jabara Dejabenga, Rivajabanga, Lana Mevanga, Yambadanya Benga, Dunga Jara Dejabenga. Medamana de Majamana, Jara Jabara Dejabenga, Meva, Deda, Gadega de Baraga, Parazanga, the Buddhist.
There is no eye element and so on, up to and including no mind element, and no mental consciousness element. There is no ignorance, no extension of ignorance, and so on, up to and including no aging and death, but no extension of aging and death. Similarly, there is no suffering, origination, cessation, and time. There is no attainment, and also no non-attainment. Therefore, because there is no attainment, bodhisattvas rely on without observation and without perfect, complete enlightenment, reliance on the perfection of wisdom. Therefore, the mantra of the perfection of wisdom, the mantra of great knowledge, the unsurpassed mantra, the mantra equal to the unequal, the mantra that thoroughly pacifies all suffering, should be known as true since it is not false. The mantra of the perfection of wisdom is declared. Karata, gate, gate, karagate, karasamgate, bodhisattva. Chandrakirti, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, should train in the profound perfection of wisdom like that. Then the Bhagavan arose from their concentration and commended the Bodhisattva Arya Avalokiteshvara, saying, well said, son of the lineage, it is like that, it is like that. One should practice the profound perfection of wisdom just as you have indicated, even without the Gatas rejoice. The Bhagavan, having thus spoken, the venerable Sharabhatiputra, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Arya Avalokiteshvara, those surrounding in their entirety, along with the world of gods, humans, asuras, and Gandharvas, were overjoyed and highly praised that spoken by the Bhagavan. Page 25.
Nodam Rera Le Shin De Jembadi Sanje Shinde Yogananda Jende Jende Chenamje Jugala Jinze Dindine Cheda Zambe Deje Saje Jeje Abdus Mendela Kamiyataya Sanje Jadan Saje Jadan Ma Janjo Bado Dani Jasan Age Chujin Jive Sanam Je Dola Venje Sanje Dobara Sanje Jadan Saje Jadan Ma Janjo Bado Dani Jasan Age Chujin Jive Sanam Je Dola Venje Sanje Dobara Sanje Jadan Saje Jadan Ma Janjo Bado Dani Jasan Age Chujin Jive Sanam Je Dola Venje Sanje Dobara Hangada Zenye Zave Dada Jeba Yi Dembishini Dunze Padam de la Jadela, Dunyin Jesune Jevela, Chiji Kanji Dunde, Chana Bema Dinde Jazala, Zoadesa. Chendelendo Sho, Badinze, Lamaram Chen, Dag Chubra Pemedition. Gadin Jimbegone, Zandi, Kusantu Jimudu Zedu, so. That will not come. That was Dasha Kulun. 토단이라 차원이 있어봐. 토단이라 차원이. 통매 내가 가릴 거든 꿀롱 개침 무슨자네. 다 꿀롱은 먼저 추. 먼저 단다 추 돼야 돼. 태과 첨부 추를 해서. 추 태과 첨부 추 이내양 안도 셈디 태과 첨부 셈는 도모를 사다 꿀롱을 알레기요래. 근데 내 드린 게 다지 동니 고미하다 냠린치에 참마 아니 신변 바시기 치디 스티치 되는 게 검자당 니야당 저서 배야고 치도 치기 삼치
First of all, could you please redefine your motivation in participating in this? Um, because according to one important tradition, there's an adage which says, there are two activities, one at the beginning and the other at the end. At the beginning, the vital activity is to redefine motivation. And now, the motivation that I like everyone to set forth is Mahayana motivation, because we are trying to immerse ourselves in the Mahayana teaching. Immersion in the Mahayana teaching entails the mind being in it. For that reason, think to ourselves that whatever I do today, it is entirely for the benefit or for goodness of all sentient beings. Whatever I do, meditation, hearing, contemplation, is all ultimately to bring about others' goodness.
다 가고 당하는 딘데 신빙기 로 숙청부지 유트 가고
Feel joyous over the fact that you have got Shenpingula and other benefiting mind, a mind that wants to benefit others.
Tadines is Lula Minari, Ngala Minari, Mainari, Luinari, the Jordan and Shinwa. Gezi, Jordan and Shin, Reshasta Midawa. Ni Gezi, that Dove Nagab Cheneme, Kaduina, Jordan, Jode Veranshi, Jordan de Veranshi, Reshas. Some of this, Tanga.
Next, could you now consider either your eye or your body as being ever ephemeral, not having a moment's rest, and therefore absolutely being impermanent?
Tadine, Ranzo Tangwa. Round to 2 middle in Zam, Pena, the Tandaraji. Also, Shiva in Erwa. Cordos at George Mate. And how go ask him though? Nakam Dum Redo Cheza, and it. Around the George Helani, Kaleshodo, Gulon Yawayana, Joya Womeshi, Joya Wayu, Jilla G. Moya Womechi, Miguel Joa Jong Jusun Chazaya would Sanje. Miguel the Dochimbo Charity. Miguel Leg David, Angola, Givalia, Giva and the Chadu Yorwa, Chazanda, Shine, and Meji, Deng Mijin said, Shine, Nendola Meji, Deng Mendu, Anzola. Chazan Tele Jovenua dita, Kunjo Sumlato, Tele Jovenua, Kunjo Sumlato, Cheza, and Kunjo Sumlata, Anzo. Chimangendola Mejewa Chiji, and Mondolami Milu Dinji, Toyak, and Japchirochi, some down to Vayina, and also Juchungu Jamdu Chayangora. And then Matayine Jamdu the Raging Iwadi, Jamdu Samlo, in this Goyota. His own calling his own Tungil, Jikshin, Jigdag lost Telejo and Iwadi Kunjosuna to Sambeta. Samlo days tangwa jamrut days tangara sangma nangbare do adel chena jamrut days jamrul ni ko yer juni jigba dang thebasro ngesong tongi la jigba kowe tongi la jigba ta dele jwe ni wasula to samlo tangwa pesha gi japtu mendo thobu japtu mendo khangbe japtu mendo mingi japtu mendo mimangbu kormangbu yena japtu mendo 다 군조 숨냐지래로 타와데와 남지 잡스도 산제 슈단 긴디 타와데와 남지 잡스 타와 코와당에 송그 동일에 타와데니 잡타도 산제 제산다 잡데마보 산제다 잡무 추군조 니 군디디 잡드베 따로 인 세상에다 딜레야다 되게 연대도 시바체나네 아직 대화 잠로기다 대화 질레버죠 이제 질레버죠 군조스므로 어디 삼로데스 당쇼스다 디데스 개첨보레서도
Having just considered how self or one's body, therefore life, is ever ephemeral because rang to be a phenomenon, an impermanent phenomenon such as self doesn't exist after the moment it has come into being. It doesn't exist in the second moment. It just perishes. So if we were to perish by way of a death now, immediately, and then after that, this life becomes blank, where does one think one might be reborn? One has no certainty because one doesn't have a strong background, momentum of virtue behind one, for it takes a great deal of effort to doing virtues If there's a motivation at the beginning, then there's no actual application. And if there is actual application, there's no proper dedication. So something in the process is fractured. Whereas when it comes to doing non-virtue, everything just happens quite spontaneously, strong intention, strong performance, and even kind of rejoice that when I succeeded in that. And that's why it is said, given this background, we have no confidence that one will not be reborn in a lower realm after death. And so, if you don't have that confidence and with the prospect of life in 3 lower realms is quite plain to see, is dreadful. And now, what am I going to do? What can I do? I need to turn for support, and I need to turn to the support of 3 jewels. Because they have the capacity, the know-how, the skill to help me change the course of my future lifetime, and therefore will to oneself that one would like to be reborn in a higher realm, so that one has all the necessary conditions to connect with the Dharma. So in order to turn to the 3 jewels, we must have a heartfelt reason why. And the reason, or the cause of the reason, is evident understanding of the dreadful prospect of life in the 3 lower realms, immense suffering, nearly 24/7, and that really one doesn't want to face that prospect. And at the same time, there's a way out, because if one were to turn to the 3 jewels, as said before, they have all the resources, experience, and therefore they are ready to help. So we really need to turn, for otherwise nothing in the world that we have materially is of any benefit in this lifetime. Anything materially will be of any benefit in the future lifetimes, across many lifetimes. Money cannot save us from falling into the lower realm. Superstructure of palatial dwelling cannot save one. One's name in the world and a huge circle of friends, they cannot stop one from dying and from falling down into the 3 lower realms. And the only source that can really lend us support is the 3 jewels, because it is a Sangye Chö the Kendo, the Tapa Deva Nam Gyap, Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha are the refuge for those who seek liberation. And indeed, we need to turn to the Buddha as an experienced guide who has been there and who is out of all vulnerable situation, and his Buddha's guidance as the actual savior. If we take on board, it is that which really saves, and then we need to rely on the support system of Sangha members. So remembering these, so we need to at least generate a wish to turn to the 3 jewels and be free from, if not from samsara completely, at least from the 3 lower realms in the next lifetime, and that is the motivation and the practice of practitioner with small scope.
근데 대고도 간들라제 거기 잠도치도 어디 차숨도 이 텔레콤데스kia.
So, could you please recite the 100 deities of the, there's a refuge, a section, refuge stanza in the Kandilhagya? And then, once you have recited that refuge stanza part, recite that 3 times, and then reflect on refuge.
On page 53, if you've got the orange text. I go for refuge to the triple gem. I shall liberate all sentient beings to lead them to an enlightened state. I generate purely an enlightened motive. I go for refuge to the triple gem. I shall liberate all sentient beings to lead them to an enlightened state. I generate purely an enlightened motive. I go for refuge to the triple gem. I shall liberate all sentient beings to lead them to an enlightened state. I generate purely an enlightened motive.
Wada diga dulchina samdana damanda yorda du samdana digre tanda jamro de javila da daja dumba shaje tuone ji choji jewa sed chewa ta jendang yorwa ta dige de chu su su jiwala chu tim jerwa dige chama su su jiwala chu tim ane dige ta javi chama daja dumba shaje tuwala tim ro daja dumba shaje tuwa de ane su su konane ma ji su su semnala tim ane 다저 좀 봐셔야돼 투규기 진럽 당 tindeji 중순 산지 tinde기 아니 가와당 대화당 합 tinde기 지 대화다 tinde기 또기 아니 tinde기 누베 또기다 지 백수수 가들어지 계제로 디에게 누베 또기다 지 디기 누베 또기 아니 수수 셈나라 미세기 가와치 뭐쇼 디에게 누가기 아니 nanda gandel haje kunji tuga sa de gande sa de kawa sa tinde kan janan di yoro di top ge ene yi la mixe ge ya chi chöchi ya dang tinde ge theba dang ni sanje da tinde ge ene chi ta jabu se da ya dang chöchi ya ge theba dang me ba dang kawa mixe ji chungje ene de do dang e diring ne chi ya chi lama that jidun lama zonga warwa lama zonga wa ani tang tebe ani lama nenjo di nyamsu lengu do sembe sem ti doge ani kandel haje kunji thuga ne slawi ta tanda jidun chambako marwa kandel haje kunji thuga sa de haja kandel haja se tal mangzi re wa jinda tushita sigrat yunde kandi iga chunzingi ta kunji tagura wadi jidun chambako marwa jidun chambako me thuga ne ma ani kandel haje kunji thuga ne raga shuzo pundi chunziri chue jeo kunji lo zanda seda jeo ne di shiksu suyos yangyanga ne chue nyamnen chiyage ne ndege ta lama zonga wadan debe ne kone ta nganzo tsosa di jan chiyage tenla ya ne chizu lama jirimboche ne zuwe ne chi ketu rimboche yeza rimboche se tuuni la sokwa te da ne tiki nganzo da dede kunda yuwa na shi samada na degre dunji nanga independent ding chizu lama jewe zongoche dalo dewe suna tenpa jeji keja shuksu sos chije jindenche ane jindenche chewza ma se ane tenpa dan dowa dewe chidu ane tune tus da nganzo li shukro chi shuksu soro chi se tendeji samada yo tane gandil haje di ma chik dewe wana yawo yo resro.
So in this refuge practice, there are many ways of doing visualization, and one way is to visualize objects of refuge, all objects of refuge, Buddha, Bodhisattvas, their teachings, Sangha, and so on. Visualize them as clearly as possible, not just today, anytime when you do this refuge thing. And then imagine or feel objects of refuge dissolve into the Buddha. And the Buddha then alights atop one's crown of head, and then decreasing in size, dissolves, enters one, and alights, takes seat at the heart level of one's chest, and then feel that there you have received, or one has received, Buddha's transformative power or blessing, and the blessing then recharges the fervent conviction one has for Buddha. Feel and then try to experience sense of elation, joy, conviction, and which inspires you to continue relying on Buddha, and then feel that you want to practice more. So for that, then recite Lama Tsongkhapa 7 sublime practice or Ganden Hagyama, and that is the 100 deities of the joyous land. The word 100 doesn't exactly mean 100. Is plural form of many, multitude of deities. Exactly, it refers to the Pure Land. And so, inspired by the blessing of the Buddha, feel you have a newfound enthusiasm to continue doing the practice, and therefore find a new spur in the mind. Now to want to do Lama Tsongkhapa Guru Yoga. To this effect, then imagine Lama Tsongkhapa, as you recite the first stanza, coming atop or amidst billowing clouds issued from the heart of Maitreya, the presiding lord of the Tushita Pure Land, and sound, and on the other side, his two disciples coming to your place in order to receive to witness and receive your offerings, your practice, and so on. And then also um, ask them to remain before you as long as is needed and possible, uh, to help you undertake the practice and for the sustenance and the preservation of teaching for the sake of all sentient beings. So in this way, if you do, if you recite, then it will be meaningful Lama Tsongkhapa Guru Yoga practice.
Oh yeah, that makalele lo don't show skandila yet sit.
Okay, could you now recite, please? Kandil him.
May the surface of the earth in every direction be pure without even a pebble, as smooth as the palm of a child's hand, naturally polished as a lapis lazuli. And may all space be completely filled with material offerings of gods and men, both things set before me and those mentally created, and the peerless crowd of Samatavata offerings. From the heart of the protector of the hundreds of deities of the land of joy, comes a cloud that resembles a mass of fresh white curd. Omniscient Lord Chandrakirti, King of the Dharma, together with your sons, I request you to come here now. O venerable Gurus with white smiles of delight, seated on lion thrones, lotus and moon in the space before me, I request you to remain for hundreds of eons in order to spread the teachings and be the supreme field of merit for my mind of faith. Your minds have the intellect that comprehends the full extent of what can be known. Your speech with its excellent explanations becomes the ear ornament for those of good fortune. Your bodies are radiantly handsome with glory renowned. I prostrate to you whom to behold, hear, or recall is worthwhile. Living water offerings, various flowers, fragrant incense, wine, and scented water, an ocean of actual and visualized cloud-like offerings, representing you, O supreme field of merit. What immeasurable virtues of body, speech, and mind have accumulated from beginningless time, and especially in the transgressions of my free vows, I confess again and again with fervent regard from my heart. From the depths of our hearts we rejoice, O protectors, in the great ways of your deeds, you who strove to learn and practice in this degenerate age, and made life meaningful by abandoning the eight worldly feelings. O holy and venerable Lama, in the clouds of compassion that fall in the skies of your Dharma wisdom, lead your lips to reign in vast and profound Dharma, precisely in accordance with the needs of those to be trained. I dedicate whatever virtues I have ever collected for the benefit of the teachings and of all sentient beings, and in particular for the essential teachings of Venerable Losang Kaka, who shine forever. By directing to the fields of Buddhas, Mandala, on a base resplendent with flowers, saffron, water, and incense, adorned with Ramveru, the four continents, and sun and moon, may all sentient beings be led to these fields. Elam Guru Ratna Mandala Kamyarataya. I send forth this jeweled mandala to you, precious gurus, by the force of having fervently requested in this way. Hollow rays of white light are emitted from the hearts of the Venerable Father and his two sons, the ends of which combine into one and enter the crown of my feet. By the white nectar in the color of milk that comes through the pathway of the tube of white light, I am cleansed of all sickness, disturbance, non-virtues, obstacles, and their instincts without exception, and my body becomes as pure and clear as crystal. You are Avalokiteshvara, great treasure of compassion, now aimed at true existence, Emanjishri, master of flawless wisdom, as well as the final destroyer of fools and demons without exception. O Sankara, crown jewel of the sages of the land of Sri, blessing, honor, and may be placed at your feet.
야, 당은서 롱종, 옥종 단 되네. 아니 피부케신 전에 고여로다. 옥두수 당은디 라마 정가에 투가네 마 왜세 까워든데 용. this 나고나라 츠리운디 this 류지 디그리드서 파 당연성 삼삼나다로 류지 디그리다. 아니 라메 구신 laptop성 텐제 네. 디 삼나당긴 당기 아니 uktu tangdi ugnane nyubadili padandi ani luji tikti tönson sen tön sawe jela ani lame guichin lap toso tentuwi na zo lungjong nimdo la ya tik tik thaya lame guichin lap tobya da dinde pendo tuzu tunduji na ya zo mixe pendo chombo dinde mongbo chiedo gasro.
So next, I'd like us to do Lung Zhong breathing exercise and do it in conjunction with purification. So as you inhale deeply, imagine you are also taking in white light rays coming from or issued by Lama Tsongkhapa, and the white light rays enter you from your nostril, and as light rays enter, they purify all physical non-virtues, obscuration, and as one exhales, then feel that all the obscurations of the body are gone, and in return, now feel you receive the transforming blessings of Lama Tsongkhapa's body. So in a brief spell of breathing in and out, one can be able to do a very profound purification practice as well.
다외세 마워실리 외세 마워드 나고니 아텐드네 마게 저 딕딕 여러다 And they got to learn another chance manja that singer pen a luigi na any luigi lay or a socho the misanjo develop way in balas what the dab hat had. Tang aji negas the June Tomatizum I gave the wasashin jo the zo pataje ne la meg that sung new top song chanting there some dana with the marwish yung will marwish yung.
So next, as you inhale, receive red light rays coming from Lama Tsongkhapa, which enter you from your nostril, and then help you purify all speech negativities of lying, slandering, harsh word, idle gossip, and so on. And and in the same way, previously, with the body, when you imagine all physical imperfections or negativities are gone, in terms of killing, stealing, sexual misconduct, and so on. And here, the same thing. Speech negativities are completely purified, got rid of, and then, as a result, feel your speech is charged with the blessing of the Guru's speech.
That was saying on bush you. Dinaguna ne lady, and Zuyi. Naksim Nusim Lokdalas or Tang, and the Jashidan Kundunga stress the anxiety that in the same Dungi Majiva Karina to the summer part. And Lamazonga Togi Chilla Susila Toso.
Next, inhale and then receive blue light rays of Lama Tsongkhapa, from Lama Tsongkhapa, which enter you from your nostril and then help you purify all mental negativities of covetousness, malice, and distorted view, as well as attachment, anger, ignorance. And once these are exhaled and expelled from one, then feel that in return you receive the transforming blessing or the blessing of Lama Tsongkhapa's mind.
다we 세 까마 팅숨 숨 지자드 총 디익 톱기 네 수수 류가 이숨 지자 섭에 딕딕 미기요 교연 상마 류가 이숨기 당은 교연 탐제 다 바타 알라메 구송도 진랍 톱서 냠 근데 다 타마델라네 우두 스타인데다 야 왜다 시루간 셈마샤지 우코나가나 수치제네 왜든 수치제네 셈디 우셈 나구나네 주제네 간산질라 다데즈 유베서르치네 간산지네 다에메비체네 간산질라 우코나가나 셈 우파지 우파도도 주도도 직잠보 우잠보지가나 우클링보지가나 아니 타마델라 셈틴데지가나 샤투치 요스로.
Now finally, feel as you inhale, you receive three lights, white, red, and blue, simultaneously from Lama Tsongkhapa, and they simultaneously, respectively, purify body, the negativities of a body, speech, and mind as you exhale, and then in return feel that you simultaneously receive transforming power of body, speech, and mind of Lama Tsongkhapa. Next, having done that, now I'd like you to shift your attention from drawing in lights and so on from Lama Tsongkhapa just to concentrating on your breath. And initially feel that you can hear the sound of your breath coming in and going out. As you pay more attention, feel that your breath becomes quieter and quieter and becomes sound free, and then pay keen attention to quiet inflow and outflow of your breath.
Tini sim jambo jigan sima singwe sin tu tu na ani thanga jas to thanga ji thanga ni thanga sum thanga ji thanga ni thanga sum je sum jap ani tik the sha this dong ba sha ani thada ga sim sha sim shiwa de ga la sha ani yang ya nam do da ma de theng ro yang ya breathing exercise thang na shi ji ya sim di ukona ga na sim ne de ga che sim ne s na ya thanga nga chewa sum jab zasana na yang samde desha asim dhamma de ten goro yang breathing exercise che yang simdi uk ngo shen ba che yang ngo shen zasana na yang deje la dyun chewa sum jab odus gom ji jab shi asta.
So as you pay attention to the inflow and outflow of breath, you'll be able to you're able to recognize the mind resting on the breath. And then with the mind resting on the breath, count the breath coming in, out 1, coming in, out 2, coming in, out 3. At the end of that, then rest in the stillness of the breath and the stillness of the mind, free from ideation, thoughts. That is still present moment. No sooner you try to remain still in the stillness of the mind, you'll notice thoughts creeping in. When that happens, then thoughts creeping in. Then again, through breathing exercise or breathing meditation, where the breath is very quiet, and the mind, you notice the mind riding the breath, the motion of the breath. And once that happens, then count the mind riding the breath up to 3 times, or count your breath 1 and 5 times 3. At the end of doing this, again, you'll experience stillness, quiet, clear, still mind. Remain in that. Due to habituation, thoughts will again crop up in the mind. When that happens, as a means to do away with them, count your breath up to 7 times and do it 3 times, so that again you'll experience, so that you are able to experience a still, clear mind resting in the present moment.
Oh yeah. That is that. Also tune la kom jaguera. Tune zamla chanzo mixema satuna jaguera mixema tangero. Mixema tang. Ini tinga la wala chije mixema tangero. 팅아지 계제 또나 야고요. 그 쌤데 대 내용으로. 아니 지요르데 믹스해지 요르고.
So we'll stop here, and during the break and during post session time, it would be good to recite Mikzima, the 4-line or the 5-line prayer to Lama Tsongkhapa, and have a rosary in your hand. Having a rosary in hand has something about it, because when you have it, and then you'll find yourself murmuring Mikzima meaningfully.
네. 단단도 영어 말에 단도 영웅 더이나 네 카드데 아주 최고 왼접다 최고 매도다는데 사자 동바시 더데 직분은 다당아서 간델라제데 연라 든 동고 여러와 나라 최고 부배 연라 요인자 데라 지용한서 추딘 푸고와
No.
인데 푸드나데 사자 동바 디지도 하데
이거 있잖아요.
아
이거 있잖아요.
이거 잘로 되지 여러와
So we don't have time to make offering arrangements in the empty space there. So in the afternoon, because we have a longer time, so it will be really beneficial to have a set of offerings as part of offerings and sublime segment or offering, which is one of the 7 sublime practices. So if we can, send the offerings like flower, light, and so on, as we normally we do from time to time.
네, 다 되죠.
We'll stop here.
Listeners of these two sections, may I quickly attend